lows 34 to 39. Wednesday, rain showers 80%.
Are we live?
Highs 61. Low.
We're live.
34 degrees on Peachtree Street.
Here we are. Hi, guys. Welcome. Hey, share this. Share the link with everybody. Got to go on the air now.
Visit the contest page at WSBRadio.com and register for your chance to be this week's loyal listener and to win tickets to the Atlanta Gladiators Star Wars Night, Saturday, January 26th at Infinite Energy Arena. Tickets are on sale now.
Okay, so everybody's watching. Make sure you share it with all your social media links.
Brought to you on WSB by Virtual Imaging.
The information presented on this program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're there, because today we're talking about something that 1 in 4 of you have. And if you don't have it, chances are you're going to get it. And chances are you know somebody. Right now in the studio, we have 4 people with us. Statistically, 1 in 4 of us have this. Ahmad, what do you think it is, Ahmad? Well, you would win that, of course, because you're the best-looking guy in radio. But so the other 3, we don't stand a chance. Actually, everybody's good-looking except me, which is it's strange that I'm the one on the air and you guys aren't. You know. So what do you think it is? 1 in 4 people will have it. Have it. Ah, close. Diabetes. There you go. Good call, though. All right, I'll give you half credit for that one. Okay. So it's diabetes, folks. And when I say diabetes and pre-diabetes. Now you're thinking to yourself, I don't have that. Well, you might, and you might not know it. Much of what you know about diabetes, first of all, is probably wrong. Because you think about it, you say, okay, if I have diabetes, I either have to take insulin or I have to take a medication. And that's what you're taught by your healthcare providers. And that's just a piece of the puzzle. We're going to get a lot deeper than that. Vast majority of diabetics are totally clueless that there are things that they can do to control it. And a lot of people don't even know they have it. So if you have diabetes, you need to know that there's a lot of things you can do to control the diabetes. And in many cases, this is our secret, make it go away. That's what's kind of cool. More than 50% of type 2 diabetics are also not aware that they even have diabetes. So 50% of people with type 2 don't eat. Now, type 1, you're going to know it. Type 1, you're tired. It's called juvenile onset diabetes. The pancreas isn't producing insulin. And so you have to take insulin from an outside source. That is what it is. Now, there's a lot of research coming out now with stem cells, and it's not there yet, so don't get excited. But it may be that we have a resolution to this in the very near future, even for type 1 diabetics. But type 2 diabetics, almost all of it is self-induced, which means that you can take control of it and get it under control. And it works amazing because I've been in practice now for a long, long time. And I'm amazed when we have diabetics come in that actually follow our advice. They'll come in and say, Doc, my medication, we've dropped down medication dramatically. Now, I'm not here to take you off your medication. I'm here to help get you well so you don't need the medication. It's not semantics. It's just how we do it. So diabetes rates for both adults and children climbing out of control. That's why I said 1 in 4 Americans right now are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. So we are in the midst of a diabetic epidemic. Latest statistics, 24 million people are diagnosed with diabetes, which is 8% of the total population. So 100 people, 8 of you have diabetes. Picture's grimmer when it comes to the prevalence of prediabetes. Now, that's people with diabetes. Prediabetes is you're on your way. Now, I used to joke when these pre-diseases came out, pre-hypertension, pre-osteoporosis. Osteopenia is called pre-osteoporosis, pre-diabetics. But then I started thinking, okay, this is important. People are realizing that they're going to get it if they don't do something about it. But here's the thing that always got me. No one ever was told what to do about it. You have osteopenia. Okay? What do I do about it? Well, when it becomes osteoporosis, we're going to worry about it. Now, as a chiropractor, we see scoliosis patients on a daily basis. And it's always been the standard treatment is let's wait until the Cobb angle gets bad enough, and then we'll go ahead and do surgery. So it always bothered me. It's like, well, so my engine is starting to smoke a little bit. I'm just going to wait till the engine falls out before I fix it. No. Let's do something about the pre-diabetes, the pre-high blood pressure, the pre-osteoporosis before it gets to that point, the pre-scoliosis or the early stage scoliosis. And that's what we do in our office. We try to get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. 1 in 4 Americans, pre-diabetic or diabetic, that's scary stuff. Let's talk about the different types. Type 1. Type 1 diabetes, so diabetes in general is called diabetes mellitus. Mellitus is a chronic condition traditionally marked by high levels of glucose in the blood, what we call high blood sugar. And when I moved to the South, they called it sugar. I got the sugar. And I didn't understand what that meant when I first moved here. I got the sugar. I said, well, why are you telling me you got sugar? Well, most people have sugar, not in their blood. Type 1 is insulin dependent. It's also known as juvenile. And type 2 is non-insulin dependent diabetes, and it's usually adult onset. Type 1, your body's own immune system destroys the insulin-producing cells. It's called the islets of Langerhans in your cell, in your pancreas, and it results in complete deficiency of the hormone insulin. These are the ones that you have to give yourself insulin in most cases. Kind of important stuff. Type 2, non-insulin dependent diabetes. This is the one that so many of us have, and this is the one that is so manageable when you do it the right way. In fact, years ago, I was a television correspondent for another network, and I was on the air, and we were taking calls, and somebody called in, and I just read an article from the Journal of Diabetes, whatever journal the diabetic group has, and it said that if you eat between 68 and 72 grams of fiber a day, you can reduce or eliminate the need for most medicine for type 2 diabetics. And I said that on the air, and an endocrinologist called up the station, and he was just livid. And he said, this is a chiropractor. What does he know about diabetes? I'm a diabetes expert. I said, okay. So this is a long time ago, I faxed him a copy of the article from his own journal. And I said, this is from your journal. I didn't make this up. I was just reporting. Why are you mad at me? Never heard from him again. So that was kind of cool. So a lot of things we talk about, many people don't know. In fact, a lot of doctors listen to this show, and I hear this all the time. They go to their meetings at the hospital or in their offices or something, and they talk about the show, which is just awesome because it's information that you may not have, and that's okay. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And I really love that when doctors call me up or hospitals or medical centers and say, wow, that was amazing what you talked about the other day, and we're going to implement that now in our office. So it's pretty cool. Somebody famous once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And again, I don't know everything either. And somebody gives me a hint. I was like, this is great stuff. So type 2 diabetes, far more common, of course, affecting 90 to 95% of diabetics, completely preventable or reversible in many cases. If you have it, your body's producing insulin, but you're unable to recognize insulin and use it properly. So you're making insulin, you're just not utilizing the insulin. Now, if your insulin is inadequate, sugar can't get into the cells and it builds up in your blood, and a variety of problems come about. So we're going to take a break in just a second. But what happens is, I'm going to discuss it now, and after the break, I'm going to discuss it a little more in depth. Insulin is released from the pancreas, and insulin does several things. One of the things it does, it goes out into the cells in the body and acts like a key, and it opens up the cell and allows sugar in. And if too much sugar gets into the cells become insulin resistant. They can't take any more sugar, so they tell the insulin, stop. I'm not going to let any more sugar in. When we come back, I'm going to explain to you what happens after that occurs. Folks, I'm also going to open up the phone lines. If you have any healthcare questions, give us a call. The number here is 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. My website, if you want to listen to podcasts, we have over 1,000 hours of podcast. The website is drjoe.com. Hey, folks, do me a favor. Tell your friends about the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
We know.
To open up the lines for us? I don't think he was paying attention there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, any questions? You told me not to use your name on the air. I can use Garrett's name, but not yours. So there we go. Lines are open.
Questions? Yeah, Brent doesn't know how to do that.
Okay. Yes.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay, because I couldn't use the other person's name, Garrett, because he said not to use his name. So I just had to say, hey, you.
Ah. Okay.
Okay. You happy now? We got everybody running around. Usually we have Sierra here. She's not here tonight, so we have our main director here. She's not with us, so have to handle it on our own.
She's still giving pointers though.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Move the chair.
Move the chair. Good. Thank you. Move this back. Thank you, Sierra. There you go. See, folks, when you see things like that, tell us so we can straighten it up a little bit. We're guys. We have all guys here today. Screeners guys, Ahmad's guy. We got all guys here. So give us pointers if we can clean up the place a little bit. And if you have any questions, send them in now. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. If this is the first time you're watching, what we do is we do the show, and this show is broadcast all over the world. Okay, this is nationally syndicated. And then at the breaks, what we decided to do is now stream live with you guys so we can answer questions. It's kind of like a little more intimate breakout session so we can answer questions specifically for you. Now, if you want to get on the air, you can always call us at 844-44-Dr.Joe. But this is, thank you, Sierra. Both chairs, she said. Go, Sierra. You tell him what to do. That Garrett, he needs a little advice, yeah. And that's what we do. Now, we do put these shows on my website, drjoe.com. If you have a podcast service, the name of the podcast is called For the Health of It. So we have well over 1,000 hours of podcasts on my website. Okay, and then we have For the Health of It as well. Did you give me, was this
2 questions.
2 questions. Oh, I didn't know what that meant. Piece
3 questions.
3. Oh my gosh, they're flowing in now.
Actually, one's just a statement. I'll start with her.
Okay, hi, her.
Hi, Dr. Esposito. Love the show.
Excellent.
I'm overweight and working on it. I've started walking and working out. Walking causes terrible shin splints, though.
Yes.
Should I try different exercises altogether, or do you have some advice?
Yes, with shin splints, it could be that your foot's out of alignment and or your knee is out of alignment and or your hip is out of alignment. So usually it's a structural issue. Something's out of alignment, putting stress on the area. Walking is one of the safest exercises. Now, swimming is great. Okay, now I used to be overweight. When I was a kid, I was really heavy. I have stretch marks on my chest. So I totally get what it's like to be overweight, and I understand the food addiction. We've done a lot of shows on that. If you go to my YouTube channel, I'm at a website, drjoe.com. Just type in weight, and you'll see a ton of shows we've done on that. So you might want to start listening to a couple of shows to get some tips on how to avoid the sugar cravings. We're going to talk about that today, insulin and leptin. Okay, got to make sure. Ahmad every now and then makes a gesture. I'm not sure if he needs me or not. So we're going to talk about that a lot today. But what I would recommend for the shin splints is ice. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. If it's still acting up, come see us. Let's find out where the structural stress is so we can go ahead and fix that.
Does diet soda raise your blood sugar?
In a weird way, it actually raises your insulin levels. It doesn't raise your blood sugar. The insulin goes up, and then you have too much insulin in the body, and that's what we're going to talk about today is high insulin level and insulin resistance. And that's why diet soda can lead to diabetes, yes.
Why'd my dad leave?
Well, because I don't know.
All right,
so that you would open up to a better life. How about that?
What is the best way to answer cerebral? Cerebellar ataxia.
Whenever Garrett gets a word right, we give him a bell. Usually, it's cerebellar issue. It's back here. Okay, the cerebrum's here, the cerebellum's back here, and the cerebellum controls balance. And so when you have ataxia, that means you're not walking right because the messages are not getting to the cerebellum and back down again. So a couple of things we want to check. Is there a pinched nerve at the occiput or the atlas, twisted out of place, putting pressure on the nerve and blood supply to the cerebellum? We want to look at chemistry, things like artificial sweetener. We talked about that. Aspartame has aspartic acid in it, which can affect the brain. Monosodium glutamate can affect the brain. Now, it could be a genetic issue as well, but there's a lot of things we've seen with ataxia that we've gotten some great results with. So you might want to come see us, and let's take a look at that and see what we can do for it. That's a great question.
And why did doctors immediately go to medication for type 2 diabetes?
That's what they're trained in.
Huh?
That's why we're doing the show, so that all the doctors and hospitals around the world can hear it and have a little new insight. And also, it's a lot of work to do this. It's very easy to give you a prescription. And many times, it's a financial decision. Because the doctors just don't have the time to spend with patients, and I blame that on insurance companies. Or I blame that on the patients, because if you have healthcare problems, if you have to pay for it, pay for it. Don't let the insurance company dictate your health.
Are you suffering
here we go.
Lucille's.
Joe can give you advice on how to
Joe.
naturally get well and stay well. Dr. Joe Esposito on WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're with us today. We're talking today about insulin resistance and type 1 and type 2 diabetes. We're going to talk about leptin, and you're going to find out today, what supplements you can take that helps tremendously with type 2 diabetes, and we're going to talk about what you can do to help manage it. So really a lot of good information here today you've never heard anywhere else. So we were talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is when your body has insulin, but the cells are not utilizing it. And the reason is you've produced so much insulin, because usually due to diet, eating too much sugar or artificial sweeteners, and the insulin goes into the cell and opens it up and allows sugar in, lets glucose in. And when the cells, if you have too much insulin, it keeps trying to open up the cells, and the cells finally say, stop it, I can't take any more. If I let any more sugar in, it's going to gunk up the works, so the cells become resistant to the insulin doing their job. And that's called insulin resistance. Pretty cool. So what we have to do is now reduce our levels of insulin so the cells become more sensitized to the insulin. Making sense so far? Okay. So let's talk about some symptoms, because we said 50% of people with type 2 diabetes don't know they have it. Excessive thirst, extreme hunger, even after eating. Now, I'm going to go off on a tangent here on that. We're going to talk about leptin, which is a hormone that's produced in your stomach that goes up into your hypothalamus in your brain and makes you feel full. When my stomach is pushed up against my diaphragm, I don't feel full. I know it hurts. I can eat so much food that my stomach hurts, but I still want to keep eating. And so what happens is, I'm assuming, and there's no research on this because nobody's going to pay for this research, that my stomach isn't getting leptin to go up into the hypothalamus to make it work, to make me feel full. And so what I do is I grab one of my doctors when I get in this mode and I have him pull my stomach down away from my diaphragm. And when that happens, almost instantly I feel a change. So many times if you're eating too much, it could be type 2 diabetes. It could be that your stomach is up against your diaphragm. And from a chiropractic standpoint, we need to adjust or pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, and then you can start digesting your food. But excessive thirst can be a sign of type 2 diabetes. Nausea, possible vomiting, unusual weight gain or weight loss, increased fatigue, irritability, blurred vision, slow healing of wounds. You have a cut and it just doesn't want to heal. Frequent infections, skin, urinary and vaginal. Numbness or tingling in the hands and feet. Now, from a chiropractic standpoint, we see numbness and tingling all the time. I don't think a day goes by, I don't think an hour goes by or a half hour goes by where one of my doctors in one of my clinics isn't seeing numbness and tingling. Many times it's a pinched nerve. So if you have a pinched nerve in your neck, you might have neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, hand pain, but you can also have tingling in the hand, same thing with the low back. So tingling could be a diabetes issue, but many times it's a pinched nerve issue. Just like the excessive hunger, it's a stomach up against the diaphragm. So structurally, we solve a lot of problems. And the reason a lot of patients come to us is they've went and had their blood work done. They've had everything tested. Everything is negative. Is that you? Raise your hands if that's you. I'm sure it's a lot of you. Yeah, and we don't know what it is. We can't figure out what it is. Now they come see us and we check the nervous system. Because if you have pain, and I ask this question rhetorically, what are you going to do about it? Hey, what are you going to do about it? You know, it's like I'm from Jersey. I'm going to get in a fight here. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about your pain? Because if you have pain, the number one thing we would do as chiropractors is find out the cause of the pain. Is it a pinched nerve? Is it a muscle spasm? Is it a bulging disc? Is it a chemical reaction? Certain people have pain because they're eating bad foods. Caffeine gives me a headache. I can't do caffeine. So we always try to get to the cause of the problem. And if you have an issue, come see us. Because again, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Stop suffering. So that's why you want to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We'd love to be your doctors. If you go to website, drjoe.com, you can set up an appointment to come see us. So a lot of issues that people come in thinking they might have diabetes, many times it's a structural issue or a chemical issue. Medications and supplements are not always the answer. Restoring the sensitivity to the insulin and what's called the leptin, that hormone that goes from your stomach and your fat cells to your brain, is going to be the key. Now, supplements can help that, and nutrition can help that. But the key is you have to stop doing things. The neat part about diabetes, or most health issues when it comes to nutrition, is it's passive. You have to not do something. And when you stop doing these things, the body starts to heal. So once again, diabetes is not it's not a disease of blood sugar. It's a signaling issue with your insulin or your leptin, and we'll talk about the leptin in just a second. It's mainly the insulin, but the leptin is a big player in this. In addition to diabetes, elevated insulin levels are associated with what? Heart disease, peripheral vascular disease, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer, obesity. So now we have to start really looking seriously as to what's going on with this insulin stuff and this insulin sensitivity. Leptin, this is one of the missing links in obesity. Because leptin is a hormone that's produced in your fat cells. It's also produced in your stomach and goes up into your brain. Now, just like insulin resistant, you can become leptin resistant. Remember we said about insulin resistant. You produce so much insulin that the cells can't allow the insulin to open up and allow sugar in anymore, so you become resistant to the insulin. Well, if you are overweight, and I used to be overweight, so I can say this. I can say the F word on the radio. I used to be fat. The fat is producing leptin, and the stomach is producing leptin when you eat food, and it goes up into the hypothalamus and says that you're full. So if you're overweight, you're constantly producing this leptin. The hypothalamus is being bombarded, and the hypothalamus finally just says, I'm not going to listen to you. I don't believe that I should think that you're full. And so this is why when you're overweight, it's so hard to stop eating. It's a hormone problem. It's a signaling of the hormone problem. You have the hormones, you're just not signaling it properly. So one of leptin's primary goals is regulating your appetite and body weight. It tells your brain when to eat, how much to eat, and most importantly, when to stop eating. Leptin tells your brain what to do with energy. Leptin is largely responsible for accuracy of insulin signaling and whether or not you become insulin resistant. So we have to get the leptin and the insulin working together. And this is something that's so often ignored with my type 2 diabetic patients. Nobody talks about the leptin. They always talk about the insulin. The only known way to reestablish leptin and insulin signaling is through proper diet. So once we get the diet straightened out, that fixes the signaling problem. So the diet's not the problem. It's the signaling problem causing the issue, the diet causing the signaling. So when your blood sugar becomes elevated, insulin is released to direct energy into storage. So a small amount goes into the cells. Some of it is stored as glycogen. And then whatever left over is stored as fat. So here's the thing before we go to this break. You eat sugar. Okay, the sugar has to be converted into glucose, whatever type of sugar it is. Glucose is the fuel the body uses. Insulin opens up the cells, lets the sugar in. Once all the cells are filled up with sugar, you still have sugar floating around in your blood. It goes back into the liver. It gets converted into something called glycogen. Glycogen is where we store energy. That's our reserve tank. Once all the glycogen stores are filled, it converts into triglycerides, which then gets stored as fat. So when somebody says, I have high triglycerides, you have too much sugar in your diet. It's not a fat problem, it's a sugar problem. And so we can get you off the sugars, the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, regular sugars, sodas. When we bring the sugar down, we reduce the insulin production, which then reduces the triglyceride production, which then reduces the fat. That's why eating carbohydrates makes you fat. So insulin's major role is not to lower really your blood sugar a little. It's rather to store energy, and that's one of the side effects is that it's stored as energy, and we call energy fat, okay? Folks, got to go to break. If you have a healthcare question, I'm going to open up the phone lines, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. My website, over 1,000 hours of podcast, drjoe.com. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, you've ever been in a car accident, if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. So, folks, go to my website, drjoe.com, make an appointment. Hey, tell your friends about the show. We'll be right back.
Message and data rates may apply.
Earning a graduate business degree.
Okay, Banky.
I have been neglecting Instagram, so
Oh,
come over here and show them some love.
Hi, Instagram. I'm sorry. Without Sierra here, this is what happens.
Do you do anything about tinnitus?
Yes.
Is there a way to cure it?
Yes, tinnitus is ringing in the ears, and it could be several things. Number one, it could be a drug reaction. Too much aspirin can cause tinnitus or other drugs. Many times I find it's a pinched nerve. The atlas bone moves out of place, and that can irritate the auditory nerve, and that can cause ringing in the ears. So many times tinnitus is a physical problem. Bones are out of place. We need to put them back in place. And then we got to look at things like dehydration as well. So there's a couple of different things we have to look at. And the answer is yes, though.
Is diabetes caused by carbohydrates or sugar?
Carbohydrates are sugar.
Good answer. Look at that. I think he tried to trick you.
Yeah, I know. I should go to school for this. Okay. Sugars are carbohydrates, I should say. I said it the other way around. Sugars are carbohydrates, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Can a ventricular shunt be removed, and do you recommend it?
I'm going to give you a bell for that because that's a pretty big word, and you said it. That's a question for your cardiologist. The answer is I don't know. Depends where it is, how bad it is, if scar tissue's grown around it. So that's a question for your cardiologist, not for me.
My ex-husband's doctor almost didn't get a bell for that one.
You should take away a bell for that one.
Told him that he has a hereditary kidney disorder.
Yes.
And that he has 6 months before they fail.
Uh-huh.
He does take hypertension medicine.
Yes.
What can he do to maybe reverse this?
He's your ex-husband. You sure you want to fix it? Okay. All right. So, couple of things. When I started in practice decades ago, never saw kidney failure. You're the fourth person to ask me a question about kidney failure in the past 3 days. Because people send us questions through the internet, on my website, drjoe.com. You got to go to a very, very low protein diet. Protein puts a major stress on the kidneys. You got to cut out all the sugar because sugar is an acid. When it floats around the blood, it irritates the kidneys. From a chiropractic standpoint, you got to check the nerves in the mid-back. That's the nerve supply to the kidneys. You have to get on an easy-to-digest diet. Things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Alkalize the system. Now, if the kidneys are too far gone, we're in trouble. But Alkalize the system, super green essential source, plant-based diet, check the nerves to it, very low protein diet, concentrated, carrots have protein, but only plant-based proteins, no animal products whatsoever, no alcohol. Make sure you're drinking enough water. I would take vitamin D, super greens, essential source, and digestive enzymes. So it's a whole protocol you can do, and in many cases we can see the kidney function start to come back, but sometimes it may be too far gone, and I don't know the state of his. So, but one of my friends had his stomach stapled, big, heavy-set guy, lost a ton of weight. I didn't even recognize him. I mean, I didn't see him in a couple of years. If he didn't speak, I wouldn't have known it was him. Put him on a high-protein diet, animal protein. You're going to help to lose weight because you got to absorb your protein. It's so important. So his diabetes went away, his high blood pressure went away, and now he's in stage 4 kidney failure. Your kidneys can't handle that much protein. So that whole thing with protein is a big scam. Yes.
What are your thoughts on tomatoes? I keep hearing they're now considered bad for you because of lectins.
Well, they have lectins in them. The only way you're going to know is if you don't eat them for a couple of days, don't eat anything with lectins in it, then eat some tomatoes and see how you do. Okay? Solamine, I think, is the thing that's in there that causes the inflammatory reaction in the nightshades.
What's the typical symptom for that?
Pain.
Pain?
Joint ache. And that's the nightshades that can aggravate arthritis, and now we're finding out the lectins are doing it. I'm not 100% sold on avoiding everything with lectins in it. I think it depends how well your body is. If you have a healthy colon, you can usually handle lectins. If you have things like irritable bowel syndrome, then it's something you have to be more careful with.
Now, should a slightly elevated creatine level be concerning?
Not if you do everything you can to straighten it out. Oh, thank you. And that goes up and down and around. And so if it's a high creatine level, you got to start to clean out the liver. So got to stay away from alcohol. You got 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Supplement-wise, you might want to consider milk thistle. Be careful with milk thistle. If you take too much of it, it can make you detox too quickly. But milk thistle seems to help a little bit with that. And then monitor it. One of those things with slightly elevated is you got to monitor it. But going to a plant-based diet, chances are it's going to go back to normal again.
This is a tongue twister, but Misty and Marcy have found that licorice root tea helps with sugar cravings.
Yes.
And that cinnamon pills help as well.
Yes, I was going to get there. You're jumping ahead.
Really?
We're going to talk about cinnamon. I wasn't going to talk about licorice, but licorice works. And we'll talk about gymnema to help stabilize the sugar cravings as well. Yes. That's why a lot of people take super greens and essential source and add a teaspoon of cinnamon to it, and they don't get hungry for hours and hours and hours.
Do you recommend vitamin B12?
If you're a vegan, yes, I take it. You can get it from nutritional yeast. You can get it from very ripe fruits. But if you take Dr. Joe's B complex and Dr. Joe's essential source, you're getting all the B complex you need. B12, all the B complex actually, not just B12. Yeah.
And that's it so far. What did you eat today?
What I ate today? Oh, I had a good day today. I made a cauliflower crust pizza with almond flour and egg replacer because I'm vegan. And I did that because I was in the mood for pizza, and that was my breakfast. I know, weird breakfast. Of course, super greens and essential source, first thing.
On that egg replacement, where do you get that? We walked around Whole Foods for like an hour today.
Really? There's Energy, I think, is one of them, and then there's another one that's...
What section do they put it in?
I have no idea. Follow Your Heart has one, too, that you can actually make scrambled eggs out of, and it's okay, but I don't like eggs that much, so...
We didn't check by all the meat replacements.
It might be meat replacements or baking goods. I would check baking goods.
That's true.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
We checked where all like the cheese and the real eggs are.
Right. Oh, no, wouldn't be there, no. Baking goods.
Did find vegan cookie dough, though.
You can make your own vegan cookie dough. Real quick, real easy. Ready? Almond flour. This keeps it very low carb. Almond flour, coconut oil, egg replacer, a little baking soda, a little salt, vanilla. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. And then you mix it all up, and it makes a vegan, like an almond cookie dough. If you want to add vegan chocolate chips to it, you can, but chocolate gives me headaches, so I can't.
Sierra better be taking notes.
Sierra, you writing that down? But it's cool. You don't have to cook it, of course. There's no eggs in it or anything like that, so you can just put the cookie dough in the refrigerator, and eat it.
It is in the baking goods section. I was thinking it would be like refrigerated in some kind of
Sierra, don't let him think. Okay? What did I tell you about that? Sierra's Garrett's girlfriend, in case you don't know who Sierra is. You wonder who this strange woman is who rules your life. Rules my life, too. She tells me to move things around and everything. So.
Monday, sunny, very cold, high 43, low 27.
Here we go.
Mostly sunny Tuesday, high
It's our weather.
lows 34 to 39. Wednesday.
Those of you who watch this on tape, you're wondering, it's like, what are they talking about? It's not 27 degrees out.
33 degrees on
Will be.
Peachtree Street at News 95.5 and AM 750
Here we go.
WSB.
felt like 20 this morning.
Listen to Dr. Joe Esposito on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're with us today. We're talking today about diabetes, type 1, type 2, insulin resistance, leptin, weight gain, all the things. The reason we're talking about this, it's hormone signaling. Because the hormones tell things what to do. That's what a hormone does. And so when the hormones are off, a lot of these problems occur. And insulin is a hormone. So is vitamin D, by the way. There's a useless fact. It's not really a vitamin, it's a hormone. But it's a signaling mechanism. And when it comes to high insulin, it comes to diabetes, heart disease, hunger, obesity, many times it's a signaling issue. The hormones are there, they're just not getting the message across. We have a communication problem. We have a failure to communicate. And so there's ways to reestablish the communication levels. And that's what's so cool about this, is that so many people think there's nothing I can do about it. I'm overweight and there's nothing I can do. No matter what I do, I'm hungry all the time. Well, it's a leptin issue. Or it's a ghrelin. We didn't even talk about ghrelin yet. Ghrelin is a hormone that's produced in your small intestine that makes you hungry. Leptin makes you feel full. Ghrelin makes you feel hungry. And so insulin is a hormone issue as well. It's a signaling issue, and we got to make sure that it gets right. So let's talk about fructose for a second, because I can't do a show without fructose. Fructose is a sugar. There's many different types of sugar. There's fructose, glucose, galactose, maltose, lactose, all these different types of sugar. And glucose is the fuel that your body uses. That's the fuel that your brain uses, your cells use, and that's the kind we need. If you're eating fructose, what happens with fructose is fructose has to be converted into glucose. Following so far? That conversion occurs in your liver. And when fructose gets converted into glucose, if you do more than about 20 grams, actually you want to only take about 15 grams of fructose a day, because chances are you're going to get 10 grams from somewhere else. And right around that level, your body starts producing a waste product called uric acid in the conversion process. Now, uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. Now, my team of chiropractors, we work on pain all day, every day. We're really good at getting rid of back pain and neck pain and headaches and numbness and tingling. And so when you have pain, you probably need to come see us. I mean, what else are you going to do for it? But if we can give you the best chiropractic care in the world, or anyone can give you the best chiropractic care in the world, if you're eating a lot of fructose, fructose is creating uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. Now, most of you look at uric acid as what disease? Gout, of course. So gout, gets in your joints and it hurts, but it can get into all your joints. And when uric acid gets into your joints, it hurts. Now, that's not the worst part. Uric acid prevents you from producing something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. It's nature's little blue pill. And when it opens up the blood vessels, it increases circulation to the brain, to the reproductive organs, to the heart, the lungs, the liver, and it can go into the joints and flush out waste products that build up. And like these crystals, these crystals build up in the joints and can hurt. And good circulation flushes it out. So if you're eating fructose, it's creating uric acid. Uric acid gets into joints, prevents nitric oxide from forming, which flushes it out of the joints. And now you got a problem. And so a lot of people have brain issues, brain fog, romantic function issues, keep it clean here, because it's a nitric oxide issue. And so what we need to do is cut out the fructose. And we do that by cutting out a lot of things like high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose and 45% glucose. And so the body has to convert that high fructose corn syrup over. If you use agave nectar, you are much, much worse off than high fructose corn syrup, because agave nectar is about 85% fructose. Wow. Isn't that crazy stuff? So there's fructose, really dangerous stuff in high amounts. One of our supplements we have is called Dr. Joe's Nitric Oxide Support. And it's hugely popular for many reasons. Some people take it as a pre-workout. They'll take it before they work out, and they get a much better workout. They work harder. They don't ache as much. They heal faster. They have more energy. A lot of people just take it for energy throughout the day. I can't take the nitric oxide at night. It keeps me awake. I have to take it first thing in the morning. So the nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. Many people report it helps them in their romantic endeavors because it increases circulation to the body. So the nitric oxide is really important. And I have to give you a warning here. If you have high blood pressure and you're taking Dr. Joe's nitric oxide, be careful, because the nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, which lower the pressure. And if your pressure starts to drop and you're taking medication, you either have to give up the supplementation and dietary changes, or you have to give up your medication. Now, I'm not here to make that decision. I think the decision is pretty obvious. But just be careful with it, because people come in and say, Dr. Joe, my blood pressure's low. It's never been low my whole life. Well, you're probably taking the medication and the nitric oxide together, and then you got to talk to your doctor to decide what you want to do there. But you kind of know where you're going to go with that. But the nitric oxide is really cool. And then Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. I didn't talk about those earlier, and I should have, because so many people tell me when they take Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, it curbs their appetite. Because when you're hungry, your body is hungry for nutrition. And so you got to be careful with that. Your body doesn't want junk food like alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. It wants nutrition. And so when you give it Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, I start my day out with it. I couldn't imagine not starting my day out with it. And it's crazy because I eat so much less. And I get this all the time, and Garrett gets it all the time too. Dr. Joe, don't ever stop making Super Greens and Essential Source. I can't afford not to buy it, because they're saving so much money on food because they're eating so much less. And then you help lose weight, and you cut out the sugars, which helps reduce your insulin resistance, which helps stabilize your blood sugar. So Super Greens, Essential Source. We have a couple other things we want to talk about. We'll talk about it in the show too. I'll give you a hint. Cinnamon. There it is, a hint. But another thing you can do if you have sugar issues or diabetes issues, put a scoop of cinnamon in with the Super Greens and the Essential Source, and that does wonders to help stabilize the blood sugar as well. That's another little trick you can do. But the presence of fructose in the Western diet is just crazy. And remember, the fructose, that whole process has to happen. It has to be converted into glucose. Too much glucose in the body gets stored as glycogen. Too much glycogen, then it gets converted into triglycerides. Triglycerides get stored as fat. And that's one of the reasons why you're getting fat. It's the sugar. That's why this whole keto craze is so popular. Cut out your carbs, 40 grams of net carbs a day. I'm okay with that. I just don't like the way they do it, but it's, eat meat, eat a lot of fat, eat butter. I'm not happy with that because I don't like the animal products. I haven't had animal products in over 32 years because of the steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified food, the inflammatory reaction, the risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer. So if you're going to go to a plant-based diet, it's really cool. And in fact, I just saw something the other day. I don't know who said it. I wish I could give the person credit for it. They said if it doesn't have a label on it, you don't have to count calories. I thought that's a pretty cool thing because that would be fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So be careful with the nuts and seeds. I don't necessarily agree with it because if one of the questions I get all the time is, Dr. Joe, how can I gain weight? And nuts and seeds and avocados, you can eat them to a point, and then they'll start putting weight on you. So it really is confusing, isn't it? The keto diet, and eat fat, and it used to be the Atkins diet, eat protein, and then the protein was killing people with kidney problems and liver problems, so we came off the high protein, we went into the high fat diets. The bottom line is this. Eating a whole food diet, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, chances are you're going to do very well and lose a lot of weight. And you need fiber, too, because fiber pushes everything through your body. And that's one of the problems I see with people on these high-protein, high-fat diets is they're not getting enough fiber. And then the food just sits in their colon and it rots. And when it rots, it gives off toxic gases, but it can become very, very dangerous to the body. So you got to be careful with that, too. You got to get your fiber. All right, when we come back, I hear the music playing. A little bit more on fructose. We got to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the things you need to do, the simple steps you can take to help stabilize your blood sugar. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. If you have a healthcare question, lines are open right now, 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. My website, drjoe.com, if you want to get Super Greens, Essential Source, the nitric oxide, the B complex, the vitamin D we're going to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about with supplements, but the website's there 24 hours a day, drjoe.com. Hey, tell your friends about the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. If you're like most people, you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches. Maybe it's time to stop suffering and it's time to take action. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, why don't you come see me and my team of doctors and let's see if you have a problem that we can help. Go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe to make an appointment today because so many of you are out there suffering needlessly and we want to put a stop to that. Come see us at our offices in Marietta, Stockbridge, and Duluth. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well. There you go. Make an appointment today so we can get you well and keep you well. I love that line. Who invented that? I did a play one time in college. It was The Gospel According to Mark Twain. And one of the lines in the play was, I wish I knew who invented them. He was talking about God, talking about humans. So, lines are lighting up. You have questions for me, or else I'll go to my callers here. All right.
What's so bad about regular eggs?
Nothing so bad. Did I say anything bad about regular eggs? No, I don't eat them.
You're missing like half of this.
Oh God!
Conversation
you
in
give
the
me a
comments
name.
of
If you're going to eat animal products, I recommend organic only. I choose not to eat animal products. And I always say, if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. I miss meatball sandwiches. I miss double beef cheese hamburgers. However, knowing what I know, I could never put that in my body again. So if you're going to eat animal products, I don't argue with carnivores. If you're going to eat them, just make sure they're organic so we don't get all those chemicals and pesticides and growth hormones in them. So same thing with eggs.
What do you think about Truvia?
Truvia is okay, but it is processed somewhat. I'd rather go to a pure stevia. We got a question here. Thoughts on berberine? Is that a word? Look, can you look that one up for me?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's spelled right. B-E-R-V-E-R-I-N-E. Or sometimes our screener may have it spelled wrong.
Berberine.
Oh, berberine. Okay. Yeah. And what do you know about berberine?
Quaternary ammonium salt from this is Wikipedia going way too deep.
Yeah, okay.
It's a chemical found in several plants, including European barberry, golden seal, gold thread, Oregon grape, something with a pH.
What is age used for?
Most commonly taken by mouth for diabetes, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure.
Okay, good.
But
all right, you are correct. I'll give you a bell for that one. Good. Okay. Okay, yeah, he did spell it wrong. That's why I was wondering what that is. So we have a new screener. So.
Metformin looks like is that pronounced right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you a bell for that one. Yes.
So taking those two together gives really good results, it looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a couple studies here.
Okay. I'm good.
Well, we leave this video up for a few days. This video will actually archive on YouTube and Facebook forever.
Forever. I will be dead and gone 100 years from now, and you'll still be watching me talk about these things. Yes.
Well, hopefully we can cure diabetes by then.
By then we won't have to worry about it. Right. This will be, oh my gosh, there was actually a time when people had that? How silly. Now, all our shows are archived on our website, drjoe.com, which is we link to our YouTube channel. And that's why I talk fast. I know, but then you can share it with other people. So.
Do we have anything for nerve damage?
Depends what kind of nerve damage it is. The answer is absolutely yes. Because with chiropractic care, you got to open up the nerve and blood supply, then getting on a good diet, alkalize the system, give the body the raw materials it needs to rebuild those nerves. The nerves can't regrow themselves. Yeah. Do what?
So I said, so super greens.
Super greens an essential source. I mean, that's not going to cure nerve damage necessarily, but as part of a protocol, the answer is yes. Yeah. Nitric oxide is good. It increases circulation. I know people call them with questions and they jump ahead of us. We have all this in our notes. We're going to get there. So, okay, go ahead.
That's it so far.
Okay.
How was the other night? Fun?
Oh, the concert?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. The seats you got us were just incredible. Oh my gosh, like with two seats away. You've been there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right next to the stage. It was just amazing. And that band.
They have such good food.
I didn't eat there.
Oh, you didn't eat?
No, I didn't eat there. No.
Well, you know what? I haven't eaten there actually since going vegan. I've only ever done vegetarian there.
Yeah, they had a risotto and hummus. That's all they had. So, but the band was Departure. I'll give them a shout out. If you guys are watching, you guys are unbelievable. They're a Journey cover band, and I think they sound better than Journey. I mean, if there's such a thing that they could be a better cover band than the originals, it's just unbelievable. And they're just, if you ever get a chance to go see Departure, they're just off the chart. I've seen them 5 or 6 times now, and they're just amazing.
What can I do about varicose veins in the legs?
Sometimes that's a tricky part. By the time they become varicosities, there's a valve in your veins. Oh, here we go.
Or maybe it will go away. Stop suffering and start getting well.
Dr. is on WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're with us today. We're talking today about hormones and insulin resistance and signaling of hormones like leptin and ghrelin and insulin, a lot of technical stuff. Somebody sent a question and they said, will this be archived, this show? And the answer is yes, we archive all our shows because several reasons. Number one, I know I talk fast. Number two, you may be hearing a show and you say, that's amazing. My buddy Bob needs to hear this. So just go to our website, drjoe.com. This show will be up there tomorrow. And you can watch this, because we videotape these too, by the way. We live stream them. So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and we live stream a lot of our shows. And all the shows are audio and video. So you can download them audio on SoundCloud. We have the videos right there, and you can watch them. You could listen to them. If you have any questions, if you don't want to come on the air, I know some folks are a little shy. If you don't want to come on the air, feel free to send me a question through the website, drjoe.com. I'm more than happy to answer them for you as well. And our offices are in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge in the Atlanta area. We'd love to be your doctors. So if you're serious about wanting to get well and getting to the cause of your problem, maybe we can help. Go to the website, drjoe.com. We'll get that set up for you. Okay, so let's take a caller here because this person is on hold. Jamie, how can we make your day better?
Hi, Dr. Joe. So I just tuned in. I heard you talking about monitoring your blood sugar.
Yes.
And so I have PCOS, and I also have hyperinsulinemia as a resultant side effect.
Sure.
My doctor wanted to put me on metformin, but a friend of mine mentioned berberine, which I've never heard of before.
Sure.
And I was wondering if maybe you knew something about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good supplement. It works very well. One of those, it's called berberine, and that works very well. We're going to talk about insulin. We're going to talk about gymnema. We're going to talk about a high-fiber diet. So there's a lot of things that you can do to stabilize that blood sugar and thus the insulin. So, yeah, berberine is absolutely positively something you might want to consider as part of your treatment there.
Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, Jamie. And, folks, again, we talked about the supplements and monitor your blood sugar. And if you have your doctor, work with your doctor and say, listen, doc, we're going to try some new things. We're going to try some berberine. We're going to try cinnamon. We're going to try gymnema. My office, we carry a wonderful gymnema product. It's by a company called Standard Process. And it's really cool because here's the thing. When you're super hungry and you want to eat sugar, you get those sugar cravings. How many people have that aside from everyone? You can take a gymnema supplement and you can chew it. And it doesn't taste good, but that's not the point. But when you try eating something sweet after that, you can't taste anything sweet. It's the weirdest thing. You could have the most sweetest, sugary soda. Take a gymnema and chew it, taste it, absolutely no sweetness whatsoever. So then you go, I don't even want it. It's not sweet anymore. So it's kind of cool. So that's some other things we're going to talk about, too, as we go through today. Ahmad, working on that caller?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out some issue with the calls system.
Okay. Ahmad, they're amazing, these guys. Look at them, how smart they are, huh? So if you have a question, folks, 844-44-Dr.Joe. Hopefully you'll get through. If you don't get through, you can always send me a question through the website, drjoe.com. But with the lines, we're trying to figure it out here. But 844-44-Dr.Joe. That number, by the way, rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. So feel free to give us a call if you want to make an appointment. So we talked about fructose. Fructose shuts down your leptin production. Remember leptin? If you're just joining us, leptin is a hormone that's produced by your fat, and it's produced by your stomach, and it sends a message into your brain and the hypothalamus, and it makes you feel full. So fructose shuts down or slows down leptin production, so you don't feel full. Fructose stimulates your ghrelin production. Ghrelin is made in your small intestine, and it makes you feel hungry. So this is why when you eat sugar, especially fructose, you want to eat more. I always said that. If you have sugar, what do you want after sugar? More. Because that's what happens to the body. So you got to be really careful. And when you understand how your body works, you can then say, oh, that makes sense. I had an ice pop. I had a cookie. I had a piece of cake. My ghrelin production increases. Leptin production decreases. I'm starving. I want more. And that's why it's a good idea not to eat dessert first, because it makes you more hungry. But think about that. You'll start to realize it when you start seeing your patterns in your life. So what I say is go to my website, drjoe.com, and you could print up something called a diet diary and a symptom survey. And just fill that out. Now, if you want to become a patient with us, you can fill it out and send it to us, and we can do a consultation. But if you just want to do it yourself, print up the diet diary. It's free. And start writing down everything you eat. Everything. I don't care if you chew a piece of gum. I want it written down because I don't want you to cheat. This is for yourself, not for me. And then look at your diet diary and then notice your symptoms. Gosh, every time I have Chinese food, I have a headache. Okay, well, there's a problem. Every time I eat sugar, I crave more sugar. There's your problem. And you're going to start to self-diagnose, which is really cool. So the diet diary is on my website, drjoe.com. It's there. It's yours for the taking. Feel free to do with it what you like, but it's a very, very good tool. All right, a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about the steps that you need to take to start reversing the insulin resistance and the leptin ghrelin issues. But first, I tease you, we have a call. Chuck, how can we make your day better?
Well, I have been for several years had a whispering or rushing sound in my ears. Sometimes not so loud, and sometimes it's very loud. And I've been told it's called tinnitus, and I've done some research, but I figured you might be the person that can help me get rid of it.
Sure. Yeah, we're very familiar with tinnitus. In fact, we get calls on this, I think, daily. A couple of things we have to look at. Number one is the diet. Okay, medications can cause it. If you're taking any medications, look up the side effects, like aspirin, for example, can cause tinnitus. So you got to figure out what to do about that. With aspirin, it usually covers up pain. So from a chiropractic standpoint, we say, what can we do to get to the cause of the pain and help get you off your medication?
Right.
Next thing, dehydration. Make sure you have enough fluid in your body. I drink a lot of water up till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I cut back dramatically. And the reason is if I drink too late in the evening, I wake up and I gotta go pee, and I can't sleep through a night. So right. I hydrate in the morning. Now, if you want to take a bath, your skin is a sponge. It'll absorb water, which is kind of cool. So that's another way to get fluid into your body. We got to look structurally. If the top bone in your atlas of the bone is out of place, that can put pressure on the auditory nerve, and that can cause that ringing in the ears. So many times from a chiropractic standpoint, we adjust the patient and the tinnitus gets better. So we got to look at several different things to find out where it's coming from. So I'd look at diet, medication, and then structures.
Got a question. It's mainly in one ear, mainly my right ear. Does that make any difference in what you just told me?
No, either way. It could be the bone out of place irritating the nerve, and then chemically it's getting worse, where the left side it's not that irritated. The chemicals aren't causing the problem.
Okay.
Make sense?
I will do what you told me to do and see if it helps.
Great, Chuck. I appreciate it. We have an office not too far from you. If you want to come see us, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck. All right, if you have questions, folks, the lines are open. 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. And, oh my gosh, we're almost up to a break already? It's been an hour? No way. My gosh. All right, I'm going to have to tease you again then, folks. I was going to give you the steps you need to start taking to stabilize your blood sugar and reset the signaling in your body. And then we're going to talk about some certain foods you could start adding to your diet and supplements that might help as well. If you have a healthcare question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr.Joe. If you want to make an appointment to come see us, and you should, stop suffering needlessly. Go to my website, drjoe.com, or when we're not on the air, you can call 844-44-Dr.Joe. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So, folks, if you have a question, give us a call. Going to go to break. We'll be right back.
Well, here's something pretty cool from the overhead of Atlanta.
Holy cow, it was a quick hour. All right, don't go away anywhere, folks. I got to get something out of my bag of tricks here. Garrett, talk to the crowd.
I called it with that metformin and Berberine.
Berberine, you're right, yes. All right, keep talking, Garrett.
And I really wanted to come on and go, whoosh, whoosh.
Because you're a wise guy. All right, so folks, in a second, we're going to have to do something called liners because this show is syndicated all over the world, and we have to do little commercials for these other stations. So bring in your questions. I'll answer them, and then Ahmad's going to give me a signal, and it'll take me 30 seconds to do my liners, and then we'll come back to you again. So more questions?
Yes. Thoughts on boosting metabolism quickly?
Heroin, cocaine, that's really fast.
Cocaine works.
Cocaine works great. Yes, It's exactly, man. That's the best way to do it if you want it fast. Or we can do it healthy. How about that? I think that's a better choice, of course. I jest, of course, about the drugs, of course.
Anti-Dr. Joe here.
The anti-Dr. Joe, yes. We do a show with Eric Von Hessler once a week, and Tim Andrews is a comedian, and he does voices, and he does my voice, and it's the funniest thing because I'll give advice, and then he'll say the exact opposite in my voice, which is, we cry here in the studio. It's hysterical. Boosting metabolism quickly. Adrenal support, nitric oxide, and Dr. Joe's B complex, super greens, and essential source. So super greens, essential source, B complex, nitric oxide, and adrenal support, and that usually does wonders, and a lot of water. But that being said, you also got to get to the cause of your problem. Stop eating the bad foods. Get out, get your body moving. If you have a job where you can stand up, like radio show host, stand up, move around, because that's going to help your metabolism as well. Movement is going to increase your metabolism as well. We're going to talk about that next. Varicose veins.
Yes.
Okay.
In the legs.
Valves in your veins like this. And when blood pumps up, the valves open, blood pumps up toward your heart, and then the valve closes so you don't get backwash. Okay? What happens with varicose veins is these little valves start to bulge out, and they create swelling. And that swelling is the varicosity. It's the varicose vein. Hemorrhoids are varicose veins in your butt. So what we need to do is get moving, but if those valves are already damaged, it's really hard to repair that. So there are surgeries you can do to remove some of those veins. You have so many different veins that you remove some of them and you have collateral circulation, it's called. But the nitric oxide can also help the circulation as well. And then bioflavonoids can help build up your blood vessel walls. Bioflavonoids you get from plants, and a great source of bioflavonoids would be super greens and essential source. So Supergreen's essential source of nitric oxide is what I would suggest, and then movement. And again, if it's already damaged, it might be hard to get that to go away.
So move your butt.
Move your butt, man, but prevent it from getting worse. Even if you have them removed, if you don't fix it, it's going to keep going. So,
what can you do to reverse hearing loss?
that is a great question. And I will tell you about the first chiropractic adjustment, September 18th, 1895, on a deaf man that brought his hearing back. Dr. D.D. Palmer adjusted his janitor, Harvey Lillard. Harvey said he had lost his hearing. He heard a pop in his neck and he lost his hearing. And, hold on one second. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, and this week we're talking about diabetes, insulin resistance, and the things you can do to help reverse or maybe even eliminate them. Dr. Joe Esposito here. This week on my show, we're talking about diabetes and insulin resistance. Dr. Joe Esposito here. This week on my show, we're talking about diabetes, which is insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and the things you can do to help get that under control. Hey folks, we're talking about the surprising things that you can do if you have high blood sugar or diabetes and the amazing results you can expect this week on the Dr. Joe Show. Okay, Banky. So, we finished varicose veins? Oh no,
yes.
Harvey Lillard, right. First adjustment ever, September 18th, 1995. D.D. Palmer adjusted Harvey Lillard, his janitor. Harvey said he felt his neck pop, he went deaf. The story goes, Dr. Palmer laid him on basically a bench, he said he felt his neck pop right here, and we think it was right here, according to the stories. So Dr. Palmer thought, well, if his neck popped and he went deaf, what if we unpopped his neck? And the first adjustment ever, and the story goes that Harvey stood up and he was able to hear the carriages in the street, brought his hearing back. Dr. Palmer thought he had discovered a cure for deafness. He didn't quite realize that he had discovered chiropractic, that when you pinch a nerve to an organ, the organ can't work. And so in my career, 2 people have gotten their hearing back in my personal career. My father had a horrible accident before I was born, fell off a ladder, broke his head, fractured his skull, and went deaf. Was never able to bring his hearing back. But over my career, we have had 2 people get their hearing back, which is kind of cool. So it could be a pinched nerve.
Miss Michelle is taking Gymnema. Are you normally supposed to chew them? I believe she's already getting them from one of our offices.
Yeah, if swallowing them will help stabilize the blood sugar. When you have those cravings and it's an emergency, then you can chew the Gymnema. And I tell you, it doesn't taste good, but you'll be amazed. Just taste something sweet. You know, things taste like sweet. Chew it and then try something sweet. It'll have no flavor whatsoever, and you go, oh my God, this is amazing. And it really can help break those cravings. Yes.
All right, this is a long one.
Hey.
Love you, Dr. Joe. This is not a
never.
question about insulin. Fast background, car accident in October. I've been consistent with going to physical therapy with an orthopedist who says I have 2 bulging discs at the bottom of my spine that are touching nerves. I started feeling better and went one time after during the holidays. Anyway, took my copper bracelet off last week, and oh my God, I've been suffering from the worst pain in the world that is also shooting all the way down to my feet.
Yes.
They gave me a cortisone shot, and now my entire leg is numb.
Yes.
Along with the pain.
Mm-hmm. And cortisone can blow out your insulin as well. So it's a pinched nerve in the low back. You should come see us. We're very good at fixing this. Can't promise anything, but chances are chiropractic care would solve your problems. We hope. We do every day, all day. Not only our offices, but all around the world. This is classic chiropractic 101. So you might want to come see us and let's see what we can do about that.
And a word to your orthopedist. We co-manage cases.
And we co-manage cases with the orthopedist. We're not going to steal your patient. Doctors don't get nervous with us because we don't never steal the patient. We work with the doctors to try to get the best results. And a good doctor is going to want the best result for their patient, not to keep them and make all the money. We want to get the best results for you.
What would cause one side of the body to be hot and the other cold?
It's a sympathetic parasympathetic imbalance. Okay, the sympathetic speeds you up and vasodilate, open up your blood vessels. Parasympathetics close down your blood vessels and let you rest. And so chances are it's an imbalance of the sympathetics and the parasympathetics. So it could be a pinched nerve or nerves that's causing the imbalance. Many times that's the issue.
We're about to go back on, so this one might actually be good on the air as well.
Oh, did we shut off Instagram?
Uh-uh.
Top of the hour?
It's not yet.
Oh, no?
We have right after the hour. So we
Okay.
got about 2 or 3 more minutes.
So on Instagram, we got to shut it down because Instagram also lets us do an hour at a time, and then we'll come right back on. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back on in just a second.
So again, this might be a good one for on air while they're fixing the phones. But my husband suffers from nerve damage as a result of a huge staph infection on the spine from an epidural steroid injection.
Oh, yeah.
He was told his nerves will never be repaired. Could never be repaired.
Okay. We can get on the air, yeah, because I don't know what's happening with the phones here, but if you want to, I can talk a little bit. I'll talk a little. I got to get these steps in to do it. And if you want to, then Garrett, why don't you wave your hands and interrupt me? Yeah. And say, Dr. Joe, we have somebody here who didn't want to come on the air. We'll say we didn't want to come on the air because trying to explain it to the radio listener is going to be too confusing. Okay, that's a good one. So we'll answer that one on the air. Coming back soon. Oh, I got to plug my headset back in. Kind of important.
And Remy says she'll come see you tomorrow.
Who will?
The one from the car accident.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Please, if you're in a car accident, please come see us right away. But the sooner the better. I mean, you can't change the past, but as soon as a car accident happens, the sooner you get to us, the better.
I'm WSB meteorologist Kirk Hollis with
All right, bye Instagram. We'll be right back.
Forecast tonight clearing with a hard freeze and breezy.
We're back.
Lows 20 to
That was quick.
And for Monday,
I was curious what you guys do over there. I see you pushing buttons and everything. I have no idea what's going on over there. Even the man who shall be unnamed is doing things over there.
Wednesday, rain showers 80%
He who shall not be named.
Yeah, that's it. That's
no
what I'm trying to
bells.
say. There
no
you go.
bells.
That's it. Thank you. There we go.
Brought to you on WSB by Virtual Imaging.
The information presented on this program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're there. Good show today. Lots of good stuff. A lot of good callers. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Not just about diabetes and insulin and blood sugar and hormone signaling issues, but anything about healthcare. Hopefully I can give a good answer for you, 844-44-Dr. Joe. So we got a couple of people that didn't want to come on the air. I'm going to get to them in just a second, but let me cover these things that I've been teasing you now for the past hour. The steps that you need to start taking to stabilize your blood sugar. And it's not hard. It's really easy. It's really quick. It's really inexpensive. And this goes for anything with diabetes, pre-diabetes, if you're overweight, if you want more energy, if you want to sleep better, if you want to have a better love life. These are the things you need to do. And, of course, chiropractic is number one because that is the nerve supply to everything in blood supply. Exercise, absolutely essential. Without it, you're likely to have this devastating disease just take over your whole body. One of the fastest, most powerful ways to lower your insulin and leptin resistance is to get moving. Now, if you don't like hitting the gym, if you can't hit the gym, maybe you have a physical issue, there are certain things we can do. So one of the things we've talked about many times in the past is 10,000 steps. I remember when this first came out of, I think it was out of Japan originally, the research, and I talked about it on a show many, many years ago, and it was unheard of. Now it's commonplace. So the things you hear on these shows are going to become mainstream. They always do, and it's always funny because I think about something that hits the mainstream media, and I'm thinking, wait, we talked about that 2 years ago. Like even a plant-based diet. You know, I've been plant-based for, decades now. And, going to a plant-based diet was freaky back then. And now it's grown, was it 500 or 600% in the past year? I think 6% of people in the country are either vegetarian or vegan. Most people are wanting to go more plant-based. So you're seeing this trend that we talked about years and years ago. So got to stay moving. Simple thing you can do. It's 10,000 steps a day. What does that mean? You can get a pedometer. Now, if you get a pedometer, I want you to buy one that just hooks onto your belt. And I ran into somebody the other day, and they said, Dr. Joe, I don't use my phone like you told me. I use a pedometer because your phone creates something called electromagnetic frequencies. And I was talking to a new friend of mine, and he was talking about this bracelet that he wears and it's supposed to give him energy. And I said, I tested him for it. What we can do is we can push on one of your muscles and then put something on or near your body to see how your body responds to it. And the bracelet worked very well for him. And I said, do you know about phones? And he said, no. So I had him take his cell phone and just hold it next to his chest. And I pushed on his arm, and this guy's stronger than me. Bam, his arm just dropped to the ground. And he's like, do that again. Put the cell phone down, arm was strong, put it next to his chest, arm went weak. So there's things called electromagnetic frequencies, and that's a little dog and pony show, but it's a good way to find out if it's an issue or not. So if you're using your cell phone in your pocket or near your waist as your pedometer, not a good idea because you're putting electromagnetic frequencies into the body. So get a little pedometer. It's an individual thing, costs you $5, and use that. And I want you to do 10,000 steps a day. So what does that mean? That means you park far away and walk. I stopped today at some place, and I parked at the opposite end of the parking lot, and I walked. And then I was in one shopping center, and I was at one store, and I had to go. There's a store on the other end of the shopping center, so I walked. Well, there's, I don't know, a couple thousand steps right there. So 10,000 steps a day is the equivalent to a 20-minute workout. Housework. Housework counts as exercise, folks. You think to yourself, I don't want to go to the gym. It's too cold. I'm too tired. I don't want to go out. Clean your house. It's good for you health-wise, but it's also good as an exercise. And when you sweep one side for a couple of strokes and then the other side, and then one side and then the other side. Because your brain is meant to be integrated, and what we do is when we use just one side of our body, we segregate our brain. And I know we're talking about diabetes today, but you want to use both sides of the brain to get the best effect. So exercise is really, really, really important when it comes to stabilizing, because what's going to happen is the cells are going to utilize the fuel that they have, the glucose, and then going to want more. And so now this is a good opportunity for the cells to say, okay, insulin, I'm going to let you unlock me and let some sugar in. And so it's a good way to get the cells talking to the insulin. It's kind of like a little matchmaker. Okay, you guys I know have been fighting for a while, but I'm going to exercise. I'm going to let you two start to make up a little bit. And it works amazingly well. So anything that's going to keep your body in motion. You know, if you do a radio show, you can stand up and stay moving around. Garrett just waved at me. You have something to say, Garrett?
Yeah, so we have a caller that didn't want to come on the air, but had a really good question. Rhonda said that my husband suffered from nerve damage as a result of a huge staph infection on the spine from an epidural steroid injection. He was told his nerves will never repair. Your thoughts?
Yes. Nerves, I could never say never, because when I went to school years ago, we were told that if it was the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord, once a nerve was damaged, it was damaged forever. It'll never repair. If it's a peripheral nerve going to the arms, the legs, your ribs, those nerves can grow back and do grow back, as a matter of fact. And that's one of the problems we have if we do certain procedures, like if we cauterize a nerve, we burn a nerve, it can grow back again. So you have to do it several times because the nerve keeps growing back. Now, we were wrong. What we were taught is wrong. The brain and spinal cord can actually regenerate new nerve tissues. And also the brain and spinal cord has a capability, it's called plasticity. And what that means is the brain and the spinal cord can rewire itself. This is why if somebody has a stroke and they can't move one side of their body, when we do rehabilitation, chiropractic, physical therapy, they start to get a lot of their motion back and sometimes total. I have patients come in all the time. Dr. Joe, I had a stroke. Looking at them, I would have never known it. Oh, it was really bad. I did rehab. Because what happened was the brain rewired itself. The plasticity, the brain's ability to have this plasticity was able to rewire. So the answer is I don't think never is ever a good idea. Now, if this nerve is cut, that may be a little different. But from a staph infection, it probably came the needle was dirty, and when they put the cortisone shot into the spine, that's an issue. That's why I want to avoid shots if I can. If I need them, I'm going to take them. I'm not worried about that, but just make sure it's in a very sterile environment. Now, in fact, just today I was talking to a friend of mine. She's a nurse practitioner, and the hospital that she works at took over this gynecological practice. And the big issue, she was going to retire, my friend actually, and she said they called her back in and they said, listen, we just took over this gynecological practice and we have a big issue with infections. Can you come in and manage it and bring it back up to par again? And it was kind of interesting that she goes, and I kind of laughed. If you ever watch one of the Godfather movies, Al Pacino says, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. And that's how she kind of felt, that she thought she was going to be out of nursing and they brought her back in again. But she said she's more than happy to do it. So, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. If you have a healthcare question, give me a call, 844-44-DR-JOE. My website, drjoe.com, over 1,000 hours of podcasts, all the supplements we talk about, Super Greens, Essential Source, vitamin D, those are all on the website, drjoe.com. And that website is there 24 hours a day. If you have any questions, you could send them through the website as well. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Does this sound like you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches? Chances are you'd benefit from chiropractic care. Most people benefit from chiropractic care because chiropractic care tries to get to the cause of your problems and not just cover up the symptoms. If you're ready to get well, I want you to go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-DR-JOE and make an appointment for you, your friends, and your family today. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
Hey, Atlanta.
Otay.
Misty said that she has one of those sit and stand desks.
Yes.
Loves it.
Loves it. I've heard a lot of people have them, and they just love it. You can stand up, get moving, you start getting tired, stand up, get in motion.
Only problem I found, it's not that expensive to make a pneumatic, like a one of those risers, that keeps pressure for air.
Yes.
There's an issue with the grasshopper system. That's third straight phone call that's come in, and it'll say grasshopper and hang up. So it's something on that end.
That's why we're not getting any calls. That's really weird. Okay, can you check that?
Hung up when it says grasshopper.
That makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, if it happens again, please always tell us first time, okay? Because obviously there's a connection problem. I'm wondering why we're not getting callers here. Okay, Garrett's going to check.
But yeah, they want like $1,000 for a sit stand desk.
Oh yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
And I can get a chair that goes up and down.
That's true too. Yeah.
For $10-15.
Yeah, or you can stand up. It's another option too. So. And here's another trick you can do too with the sit and stand issues. Drink a lot of water. And if you drink a lot of water, you have to get up and pee a lot. Or on your computer, set your clock, set your reminder, and every hour have it go off, and you have to get up and walk around. So that's another. There's several things you can do to get in motion. Or you can become a chiropractor and see a bunch of patients like we do, and just have to run from room to room to room, and have me whipping my doctors. Get moving, get moving, get moving. So. Okay, so Garrett's going to try to reboot the grasshopper, and there it is. The line is lighting up already. No, that's not the 844 number though. So.
On a plant-based diet, what is the best source of protein for building muscle the fastest?
You don't need more protein. Got to get this old wives' tale lie out of people's heads. Your body needs 8 to 10% of its total caloric intake as protein. A carrot is 6%. And you got to think, what does a cow eat? Cow eats grass. They have muscle and fat and bones and organs and hooves and horns and leather. And so you don't need more protein. Eating more protein is not going to build more muscles for you. In fact, it's going to put a major strain on your kidneys and your adrenal glands and your liver. And so you're going to have problems with too much protein. So I'm begging you, I'm on my knees, please get this craziness that you need protein out of your life. Because cows, elephants, horses, giraffes, the longest living animals in the world eat a plant-based diet, and they don't worry about taking protein shakes. So if you're going to do a protein shake, because I know people aren't going to listen to me, at least make sure it's plant-based. Pea protein is one of the more popular ones now too. But you do not need more protein, I promise you. I do not eat more protein. I'm perfectly fine. I'm running circles around people half my age. You can do it too, I promise you. You don't need more protein. And how about this? Google vegan athletes or vegetarian athletes, and you will be amazed, story after story after story, of athletes that went to a plant-based diet and their performance skyrocketed. And now they have bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders, champion bodybuilders who are on plant-based diets. So you do not need more protein.
It takes less energy.
And less energy. It takes so much.
What about the absorption rates?
Exactly. Sex is the #1 consumer of energy we have as humans. Digestion is number 2. And and animal protein is the hardest thing to digest. So you want to wipe yourself out, get on those animal protein diets. It'll just
like 60% assimilation is your best chance.
Oh yeah, even that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So half of that steak is really going to helping you.
Yeah. What else you got?
I got lots.
I know you do.
Do we all need niacin?
Yeah, but if you're taking super greens and essential source and eating a plant-based diet, you get plenty of it.
And do you recommend oil pulling for your teeth health?
Absolutely, positively. Oil pulling rocks. We've talked about it many times on shows in the past.
Another quick one. Do you recommend laser surgery to correct your vision?
I've never had it because I'm afraid of it. One of my friends here at the station, one of the companies came to him and they wanted to do an endorsement. So the first thing he did was they said, well, let's do a surgery on you. And he said, great. And he went blind in one eye. Scared the heck out of him. And eventually they had to do 2 more surgeries to get the vision back. So my eye doctor said the same thing. You're taking pure, what she called virgin tissue in your eyes and messing with it. It might work, might not. I'm too afraid to do it. But I did know that Super Greens, an essential source, has improved my vision dramatically. So, and the nitric oxide helps too. And adjustments help.
On the outer loop 25 southbound from 75 down to exit 15 South Cobb Drive, it'll take you 4 minutes, another 4 minutes.
I have a question about the nitric oxide that you sell for blood pressure.
Yes.
How does it work? I'm already on blood pressure medication. I'm exercising and have lost weight. Is this something I could take that would help?
Yes. Probably. The answer is yeah. It gets into the blood vessels and opens them up.
Your control, your health. Dr.Joe Esposito is on.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're there. Talking today about insulin resistance and hormone signaling and diabetes and type 1 and type 2 and what we can do to help stabilize our bodies. And folks, if you have a question, if you tried calling in, by the way, we just realized we're having trouble with the phone. You can try again. The number's 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. And let's see if that helps. And if it doesn't, follow us on Facebook or Instagram and send a message to Garrett and let us know that, and we'll just take messages that way. So 844-44-Dr.Joe, that number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air, so that won't be a problem. All right, got a few callers through. They went through another line, but I want to talk a little bit more about the steps you can take to help reverse the insulin resistance and the signaling and leptin and all of that. If you missed that, you got to go to my website, drjoe.com, and listen to the whole show. Really good information today, good postgraduate information we're giving you. Got to cut out grains and sugars, especially fructose. We talked about that. A large reason for failure of conventional diabetes treatments over the past 50 years is the dietary recommendations. Fructose and grains are largely responsible for the body's adverse insulin reactions. Now, when I say grains, that's breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, and people say to me all the time, Dr. Joe, what's a good bread? And if we're talking about stabilizing blood sugar, the answer is none. Now, you can do flaxseed bread. Oh, 844, it's ringing through now, Garrett. So I guess whatever you did, you fixed it. Okay, so 844-44-Dr.Joe is working. If you want to give us a call, and that number, again, rings through to my offices. So you can do flax seeds, crackers. They're okay. They're not great. But that might be an option for you as well to try that. And you can make your own. You can buy them. They're really, if you have a dehydrator, it works. But that's something you might want to consider. But generally speaking, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas are going to be those grains you want to avoid. You want to eliminate all grains if you can, even wild ones and sprouted ones. And people say, what about sprouted bread? I know everybody's trying to find a shortcut. Everybody's trying to, well, Dr. Joe, what if I do this and if I stand on my left foot and face east and jump up and down? No. Grains are grains. Grains break down to sugars, and the sugar is where the problem is coming from. You need to avoid, if your blood sugar is totally out of control, I'm even going to tell you to get off fruit because the fruit has sugar in it as well. Now, it has fiber too. Now, the benefits of things like Essential Source is it's fruits and vegetable juices. We take the water out and we take the sugar out. So you're getting the benefits of fruits and vegetables without the sugar, and it's in a super concentrated form. Prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a complete multivitamin. I couldn't imagine a day going without Super Greens and Essential Source. You should do it too. It's on my website, drjoe.com. Also available on Amazon too. All right, let's start taking callers. If you have a question, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Rhonda, how can we make your day better?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
Good. I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Diabetic and neuropathy in the feet. You were just talking about nerve regeneration and that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for those nerves to regenerate if they've been damaged?
It depends how bad they are, but the answer is a resounding yes. We've had a lot of diabetics with diabetic neuropathy. When we give them chiropractic care, get their blood circulation, we get them using it on nitric oxide, we get them on B-complex. The Super Greens and Essential Source, and in most cases, they're very, very, very happy with the results. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because we were told that once they're gone, they're gone, and it's pretty bad.
Oh, I understand.
I mean,
no,
you can't feel his feet.
Exactly.
A lot of times.
You know what? It's worth a shot. And if it doesn't work, guess what? It didn't work. So what?
Right.
It's not working now, so it's certainly worth a shot. And we can never make promises, but I can tell you from decades of experience that a lot of patients, when they do what we say, the biggest complaint we get is, "Why didn't I do this sooner?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and hair loss.
Hair loss, it's usually due to a chemical called dihydroxytestosterone. And dihydroxytestosterone, the hair on the top of your head is affected by dihydroxytestosterone. The hair on the side of the head is not. That's why when men and women go bald, the side of the head usually doesn't go bald. It's just the top. So it's kind of interesting. So what we can do is nitric oxide can help you increase stimulation. Adrenal support many times can help the adrenal glands, help balance out the hormones. Sometimes it is what it is. We're getting older and things do change. But I've seen a lot of people get good results with the adrenal support and the nitric oxide, the Super Greens, and the Essential Source. So
even if it's been diagnosed as hereditary.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm not saying it's going to hurt. It's going to help, but it certainly isn't going to hurt. And it's certainly worth a shot. And the same things would do very well, I think, for your husband's feet with the diabetic neuropathy. And come see us. Because if he's got a pinched nerve, that's got to be fixed regardless of what we got to do chemically. So.
Oh, he's probably got many, many of those.
Yeah. All right. It's your fault, Rhonda, right? Yeah. So, all right. Have him come see us. Thanks, Rhonda. Appreciate it. All right, folks. 844-44-Dr. Joe. The line lit up and now it's gone again. What's going on here? It's very strange. Okay, we're having a problem with the phones here. Yes.
I have one, however.
Go ahead. All right, Garrett's got one.
Quick question. Is there a link between diabetes and depression?
Oh, of course. Absolutely, positively, yes. And actually, there's a link between depression and diet And so the answer is yes for diabetes, but yes for a lot of things when it comes to diet. And so you really want to get that diet straightened out. And the thing is with diet, you have control of it. No one is forcing any food down your throat. And we said this earlier, when it comes to nutrition, it's oftentimes passive, not active. You have to not do things. You have to not eat the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Eat more fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. Take high-quality supplements. But yes, the diet has a lot to do with it. And while we're on the topic of depression, I think we cover this on every show. Your stomach's job is to take proteins and break them down into something called amino acids. The amino acid tryptophan becomes serotonin in your brain. Serotonin is your happy neurotransmitter. So if you don't have enough serotonin, you're not going to be happy. And 95% of your serotonin is not used in your brain, it's used in your gut. And we did a show, it was last week or the week before, on the gut-brain connection. You might want to go to my website, drjoe.com, and listen to that because it was really good stuff about that. But if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, chances are your stomach is pushed up into your diaphragm and you're not digesting your proteins properly. So we need to pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, and that many times helps the digestion, which helps the depression.
And a question to go along with that just came in. How do you feel about bone broth and collagen supplements for leaky gut and other issues?
Not a fan of bone broth because animals store lead and heavy metals in the bones, even organic animals, and if they're organically raised. And so when you boil the bone broth, you're releasing these heavy metals and these toxins. So I'm not a big fan of that. Now, there are vegetarian ways you can get collagen, but here's the thing with collagen and bone broth. All proteins, I don't care if it comes from a carrot or a toenail, it's going to be broken down to amino acids and then reassembled. So whether it's collagen or bone broth or a carrot, all the proteins are going to be broken down the same way and then reassembled the same way. So you don't need a lot of these animal products in order for the body to heal. In fact, it usually does better without the animal products, and you don't run the risk of lead contamination. Another question, Garrett?
I do actually.
Okay, well, go ahead.
So I take your Essential Source daily and Super Greens. I also take daily your Super B Complex and probiotics.
Yes.
I still have problems with angular colitis.
Okay.
Is that a bell?
I'm not sure.
It's still intermittent. I'm a clean eater and about 75% vegan. Any more suggestions?
Yeah, we want to look at chiropractic care then. Because if you've done all the chemical, then you got to look at the physical. And many times we have to adjust the stomach or the small intestine, the ileocecal valve. We massage it basically and get it to come out of spasm. And then the nerves in the low back control the back, hips, legs, knees, and ankles. But it also controls the colon, the sex organs, and the bladder. So every case I've ever seen with colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, any of the diseases of the colon, we always find a pinched nerve in the low back. And when we adjust the nerve in the low back, that opens up the nerve and blood supply. Then we can adjust the organs themselves, and then a lot of the nutritional stuff works a lot better. So come see us. All right, folks, when we come back, I hear the music playing. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 2 supplements that seem to do wonders when it comes to blood sugar and diabetes issues. So, folks, if you have a healthcare question, give us a call right now, 844-44-Dr.Joe. If it doesn't work, we're having problems with the phones, send me a message through the website, drjoe.com, or follow us on Facebook and Instagram because we live stream a lot of these, and then you can send your questions in that way. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
Do your gutters overflow or leak when it rains?
Yeah, so I looked up on the phone system, and there's no answers online. I've turned it off and turned it back on twice. When I turned it back on, calls started coming through again, but they kept dropping.
That's
so
really
then I
weird.
turned off where it tells us that it's grasshopper calling.
Right.
So hopefully that does it. That maybe the interchange between it saying grasshopper and then coming on the line.
It drops it, yeah. Why don't you call? Call the number, see what happens. You have a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I might.
Okay.
I have a phone.
Okay. Oh, it's ringing now. Okay, hold on. Coming through.
Is it working?
844-44-Dr.Joe. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if it stays up or not. Yeah. Okay, I can see it here. Yay!
Okay. So that's what it was.
Garrett fixed it again. He's a miracle worker. All right, well, this worked out well. We got to answer the questions for these folks, so it was okay. Yeah. All right.
Can you do adjustments on people?
Yes. Oh, there's more. Okay.
With blood thinners.
Yes, you can. Absolutely, positively, yes.
And then going back to an earlier topic, I'm not sure as to where it was, but what about Ezekiel bread or what about Dave's bread?
Everyone has, right? Didn't I just say everybody wants the shortcut? The answer is they're probably a little better, but they're still not good. So my answer is, if you're serious about wanting to get well, I would say no. Didn't I just say that? Everyone says, oh, what about this? What about this? No.
Oh, and angular colitis, he's talking about inflammation of the lips.
That's oftentimes a B problem. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's not colitis though. It's oftentimes a B vitamin issue, B6. So you might take Dr. Joe's B complex, and that might help. Okay, and if not, then you might have acid reflux. That could be irritating as well. Every time I take a sip of this, a little liquid gets on my nose. That's why I keep doing this.
Speaking of diabetics with depression, what supplements, besides the obvious, would you recommend to help them? Forgive me if I missed your answer already.
No, yeah, it's coming up next. It's in the next segment, so you're going to have to hang on for that one.
I'm not a fan of Ezekiel bread.
I don't like it either. If I'm going to eat bread, I want good Italian bread from New York that's still hot out of the oven. If not, why bother?
Walking through the grocery store today and smelling all the fresh bread.
Isn't it great? I know. It's evil. It's evil.
It is very evil.
Yes.
What about oatmeal? Evil or not?
Okay, I'll give you a thumbs up on oatmeal. Yes, you don't have to cook it, by the way. The old-fashioned oats are already cooked. So you can do it. I'll do this. I'll just take oats and I'll add some coconut milk or almond milk to it and eat it that way. You could add some cinnamon to it, maybe some raisins. You got yourself a breakfast cereal. In Europe, they call it muesli. They add some nuts and some dried fruit to it, and it's muesli. So you don't have to cook oatmeal. Not rolled oats, anyway.
Louis said thank you. He had 3 of those quick round-off questions.
Bam, bam, bam.
He is most definitely not going to laser his eyes.
Okay, yeah.
I was actually questioning that too myself.
Well, yeah, I wear glasses. All of us wear glasses here, except for Ahmad. So
he still probably has contacts.
He's too damn good looking. That's a problem with him. So.
And I got to give him kudos. Thank you for putting on the training wheels. I probably would have missed that. Turned me off. I was like doing a bunch of stuff. And, he turned off my mic before break.
Yeah, you got to turn it off, or else every time you do something, scratch it, sneeze, cough, it's going to come through.
My husband is going to the keto diet route after listening to I won't say who, trucker turned nutritionist. Insists that there is no such thing as bad cholesterol, high cholesterol, or low cholesterol. We went round and round about this today and got nowhere. Please help. Give her some ammunition.
No such thing as bad cholesterol. Oh my gosh,
that's what he's saying.
Oh, the studies are crazy. Just go to PubMed, PubMed, Publish Med, PubMed.org, and type in cholesterol, and then print up the 50,000 or so articles that come up and just hand them to him. Yes, your cholesterol can be too high. And it's high density lipoproteins are not so bad. The low density lipoproteins are more likely to oxidize and stick to the artery walls. We did a show on this probably about 6 weeks ago, so go to my website and look that one up. But the low density lipoproteins oxidize, stick to the artery walls. Free radicals oxidize it. The free radicals create the irritation of the artery walls. Then the body lays down cholesterol to act as a protective mechanism. And yes, there are tons of studies showing that cholesterol is linked to diabetes and breast cancer, cholesterol intake. Now, the irony is that the cholesterol is not linked to raising your cholesterol levels. That's the interesting part. But yes, there is bad cholesterol, and shame on that person for being stupid. So.
And by the way, I suggest finding articles with pictures. Sometimes that helps.
Yeah, PubMed gets it's all medical research. So, but PubMed is a great place to look for research. So, type in the word you want, and you'll see everything out there.
Do you know anything about gastroparesis?
I see it, I don't know how many times a day. Yes, absolutely. Many times diabetics get it. Yes.
And the best way to handle it. I feel myself and women are being diagnosed every day, but there's no answer.
Yes, adjusting the spine, pulling the stomach down away from the diaphragm many times helps. We have a lot of diabetic patients, and they do great, and then they'll come back in and go, time for my stomach again, doc. So we got to adjust the nerve supply from the back to the stomach, and then we got to work on the stomach itself. So the answer is, we see it a lot, and a lot of patients are very, very happy with the results.
What is your opinion regarding black seed oil?
Good.
Somebody's got to be doing some crazy
There's a
advertising.
lot. That's the new thing right now is black seed oil, yeah. Because every week we get that question. It's good.
No major delays north or south going between I-20 and 17th Street at the Brookwood split. WSB Jam Cam shows a hero unit clearing a stall off to the right now on
Good question coming up. Wife had pneumonia and received shots. Now she can't smell or taste anything.
So Catherine, the woman whose husband is keto crazy.
Yes.
He says that the trucker/nutritionist said that we have all been lied to.
Okay. Some other guy said, forgive them for they know not what they do. And if he wants to do that, let his cholesterol get crazy. Because Darwin said...
So the woman who's talking about gastroparesis, can you help me, and do you think you can help me? I'm 31 with gastroparesis, and my doctor seems clueless.
I think we can never guarantee anything, but I can tell you been doing this for years on gastroparesis. In most cases, we get great results. So. All right, here we go. Back on here. Neck pain, back pain,
Shoulder pain, headaches. Chances are you'd benefit from chiropractic care. Most people benefit from chiropractic care because chiropractic care tries to get to the cause of your problems and not just cover up the symptoms. If you're ready to get well, I want you to go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe and make an appointment for you, your friends, and your family today. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well.
If brains were looks, he would be the Brad Pitt of radio. That's why you listen to Dr. Joe Esposito on WSB.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you spent a little time with us. We're talking today about insulin resistance and hormones and leptins and ghrelins and all these other neat things that go on in your body and why your body isn't working right. And if you have a healthcare question, we have 2 more segments. The number here is 844-44-Dr.Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. And that number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. Want to talk about the 2 supplements that are necessary, have to be part of your diet, and then we'll talk about some other things you can add to it as well. But when it comes to blood sugar issues and hormone issues, number 1, vitamin D. Optimizing your vitamin D levels not only helps type 2 diabetics, but it can almost eliminate your child's risk of type 1 diabetes if you're pregnant. A lot of studies have shown that women who are low in vitamin D have a higher incidence of children being born with type 1 diabetes. So it's vital for infants to receive the appropriate amounts of vitamin D in their early years for the same reason. So one of the things we don't think about with kids is our vitamin D. So when you get your kids' blood work done, check the vitamin D levels. It's not part of the standard process in most cases. Make sure that becomes part of your protocol. Check the vitamin D levels in your children. Get them on the vitamin D. It can really help reduce the risk of diabetes. Ideally, you'll want to do this by exposing your body out to the sun. That's the best way to get vitamin D, and that's why in the summer you want to get out there, because if you're out in the sun for about 20 minutes, your body can create 20,000 international units of vitamin D from direct UV exposure, so direct sunlight. Now, in the winter, the sun is hitting the earth on an angle if you're in the winter in your part of the world, and so you're not going to get the UVB rays that interact with cholesterol that create the vitamin D. So what you want to do then is take a vitamin D supplement. On our website, drjoe.com, we have a vitamin D3, and it also has vitamin K2 in it because most of you are not getting enough K2, and K2 is necessary for a lot of things, including healthy bones. It's 5 drops. 5 drops is 5,000 international units of Dr. Joe's vitamin D. It helps with the immune system. There's research on cancer now. There's research on brain function. Vitamin D is just the sweetheart of supplements, and most of us are not getting it. So you can get your blood work tested, check your vitamin D levels. If it's low, chances are it will be. If you're not supplementing, you need to supplement, especially in the winter. I supplement from fall to spring. And then once I'm out in the sun more, I have a sunroof, a moonroof, I don't know what it's called. I open it in my car, I roll up my sleeves, I put my arm out the window. So try to get as much sunlight as you can when it's warm out, but when it's cold out, you got to get that vitamin D. And just get your blood levels checked. But it's safe to take at 5,000 units a day. Probiotics. This is another one I really want you to consider. Your gut's a living ecosystem. I think last week we did the gut, or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, we talked a lot about the gut. It's full of good bacteria and bad bacteria. Now, there are a ton of studies that show that obese people have different intestinal bacteria than skinny people. And one of the things we do, I talk about this a lot because I think it's funny, they do fecal transplant. They can take the fecal matter from a skinny person and put it in a fat person to try to recolonate their colon. I think that's a little extreme, but because the different bacteria send messages up to the brain differently, it can change how you absorb food and how much you eat, actually. Now, optimizing your gut flora is really easy. Flora is the bacteria that's in your colon. You can reseed your colon by taking a good, high-quality probiotic supplements. On the website, drjoe.com, we have Dr. Joe's probiotics. If you take antibiotics, you should be taking probiotics. If you eat conventional meats and dairy products, many times they're given low-dose antibiotics, and so if you're eating those animals or animal products, you're getting low-dose antibiotics, which could be killing off the bacteria. So then you should be taking probiotics. If you're not eating a lot of raw food, you should probably take probiotics. Probiotics are just so powerful, and it's really important because about 70% of your immune system is in your colon. So if you're wiping out the good bacteria in your colon, even things like chlorine. Somebody sent me a question about fluoride today. Is it good? Now, fluoride on your teeth might help prevent cavities. I'm not even going to argue that point. I'm assuming it does. The problem is we put fluoride in water and in toothpaste. And if you read the side of your toothpaste tube, it says, no uncertain terms, if it's a commercial toothpaste, caution, harmful if swallowed, call poison control. It's toothpaste. You put it in your mouth. Of course you're going to swallow it. So be careful with that. I'm not a big fan of chlorinated water because I use a whole house water filter. I have a company, I put a whole house water filter in my house, and it filters every drop of water in my house. And when I shower, my hair comes out smoother. I use less soap. It's really amazing, but I want to get that chlorine out of the system because chlorine can act as an antibiotic. Why do we put it in pools or in your drinking water? It's an antibiotic. And so if you're using regular water, if you're showering in regular water, you probably need to get on Dr. Joe's probiotics as well. And all the supplements, the Super Greens, the Essential Source, which everybody should be taking. The B complex we talked about, the D, the nitric oxide, the probiotics, the adrenal support, all of those and others are on the website, drjoe.com. Let's take some more callers. Don, how can we make your day better?
Hey, doctor.
Hey there.
Calling about my wife. She was diagnosed with walking pneumonia back on December 2nd.
Uh-huh.
Given a steroid shot and some antibiotics, but ever since she has lost the taste of smell and taste.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So what can we do about that?
That happens sometimes. What we got to do is rebuild her immune system and rebuild her body because the shots apparently are linked to this. I have no proof of that, but it sure seems that way. So I'd get her on probiotics, Super Greens, and Essential Source, absolutely. I'd get her off anything that's going to help destroy the bacteria in her colon, which would be the meats, the dairies, the sugars, and things like that. And then we might want to consider getting her on a liver supplement. There are different ones to help clean out the liver. And milk thistle is one that works really well. So if you call our office, it's not on our website. We have a milk thistle as well that may be able to start to detoxify and break down some of that junk that built up in her liver. And then chiropractic care, I always say that, of course, for everything because it opens up the nerve supply, and that's the core of everything. So I'd say Super Greens, Essential Source, probiotics. You can call the office and get some milk thistle, and then you might want to bring her in and let us check her out.
Well, while I've got you on the phone, and I want her to hear it from you, how about smoking?
Well, yeah, you have to quit smoking. I mean, I don't think there's a question there. Now, the problem is smoking is an addiction. And in fact, we have a show coming up on addictions. It's going to come up in a few weeks. It's not next week. But I know it's tough. But here's the thing. When people get healthy, a lot of those addictions go away. So when you start eating the right food, getting on the right supplements, those cravings start to go away because we talk about the dopamine receptor sites in the brain being stimulated. When you give the body the raw materials it needs to produce dopamine, you don't need to stimulate it from an outside source. So getting healthy many times helps beat the addiction. So,
great. Thank you, sir.
All right, Don, my pleasure. Bring her in. We'll take a look at her. Thanks a lot. Let's see here. Mark, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. Joe. Thanks for taking my call. Got a question for you. Is there such a thing as eating too many vegetables at one sitting? I usually buy these little microwavable bags of broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots, and I'll sit down and have that for dinner, and I'll sometimes eat the entire bag. Is that a problem?
No, as long as you're not full and hurting yourself, you're fine. Now, I wouldn't microwave them. I would break open the bag and boil it because microwaves I'm not a big fan of, especially in plastic, which is horrible. But yeah, as long as you're not eating yourself sick, physically sick, you're fine. You're not going to eat too many vegetables.
Okay. Second question, popcorn as a snack.
Yes, make sure it's organic popcorn. Otherwise, it's probably going to be genetically modified. Make sure it's air popped or stove popped. You don't want to put it in a microwave. So the answer is okay. Just make sure it's organic, okay?
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mark. How about that? Oh, I hear music. I hear the bells. Folks, got to go to break. We have one more segment. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. If we don't get you on the air, you can always call. That number rings through my offices or send me a question through the website, drjoe.com. Lots of good information there. Hey, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Send us your email address. Put you on our newsletter list as well. Tell your friends about the show. We're going to be right back. If you're like most people, you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches. Maybe it's time to stop suffering and it's time to take action. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, why don't you come see me and my team of doctors and let's see if you have a problem that we can help.
Go to my website, drjoe.com, or call 844-44-Dr.Joe to make an appointment today because so many of you are out there suffering needlessly, and we want to put a stop to that. Come see us at our offices in Marietta, Stockbridge, and Duluth. Make an appointment today so we can help get you well and keep you well. All right, last segment. Folks, if we didn't get to your question, we weren't ignoring you. We just get so many questions. You can always call in the show if you want to, call the office, or send it to me through the website if we didn't get to you. Supplement for diabetes. Didn't we just do a whole show on that? Question. All right, so go ahead.
Do you have any advice for how to make apple cider vinegar taste better?
Oh, God, I wish I did. What I do is I use it as part of my salad dressing every day, and this way, because I don't like it. I'll be honest with you, I do not like apple cider vinegar, but it's very good for you. So I use it as part of a salad dressing, and that works really well. So you can put apple cider vinegar, water to dilute it. You can add a little stevia to it if you want to drink it straight down with water. You can try it with different juices if you want to. It's just not fun. But as part of salad dressing, I find it's okay.
Opinion on cold showers.
For what? I mean, you can do. I like warm showers personally. I don't like cold showers. I don't know if anybody who does like cold showers personally, but they're okay. I don't know.
Maybe the shock of it. Doesn't that help your immune system? I mean, not your immune system, your
circulatory system. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like in Northern Europe, they'll do hot baths and cold baths, Sweden, the sweetest massages, and then the ice plunges and stuff. Yeah, I've done an ice plunge. There's a Korean spa here in Atlanta. Jeju. Okay, yeah, there you go. And then they have an ice plunge there. It's the only time I ever did it. I was like, whoa, that'll wake you up quick. Fun place to go on a rainy Sunday. Not for me, not for us because we have to work, but you know. But it's really cool if you've never been there. It's really neat.
Well then, if not just cold showers, how else can you build up a resistance to the cold?
Build resistance to the cold? If you have good circulation, nitric oxide will increase your circulation. Eating a good diet will increase your circulation. And that you got to just get the blood flowing. That's
butter.
it. Yeah.
Lots of butter. Build up that fat.
Build up the fat. That's what you got. Layers of fat. That's the secret right there. Yes. Got calls from all over the country today. This one's the next one's from Missouri, man. They're coming in from everywhere.
Going back earlier, some people stay warmer in the cold than others. What diet and lifestyle changes can increase the ability to stay warm in the cold?
There you go.
That was it. I don't find many breakdowns for patients with gastroparesis. Is there a better multivitamin for people that suffer?
Yeah, Super Green's an essential source because it's easy to absorb. That's the key of Super Green's an essential source. It's loaded with so many different things, and it's easy to absorb. That's why people with gastroparesis or gastritis or irritable bowel syndrome, they love this stuff because it doesn't irritate the bowels, but it gives them all nutrients they need.
Do apple cider vinegar pills and capsules work?
Yes, as long as it's organic, yes.
Same stuff.
They work fine. Like Olita Adams said in a song, I don't care how you get here, just get here.
I'm assuming this is a silent G, but nystagmus? Nystagmus?
Nystagmus,
nystagmus.
I'll give it to you, man.
Okay.
You know, it took you two.
Best recommendation for healing?
Nystagmus is when the eyes do this, okay? That's nystagmus. And it's usually a neurological issue from the brain. It's usually a cranial nerve issue. So we may have to adjust the neck and the cranial bones to see what's going on in there. Sometimes that fixes the problem. Yeah. That's when the eyes do that. That's kind of cool. Okay, but we've seen it before. In many cases, we get good results.
And on gastroparesis, I cannot keep weight on. I know this is a bit off topic, but do you suggest a feeding tube if I seriously can't eat?
I don't think so. I think if we start adjusting you and getting the body stabilized, that usually solves the problem. We've gotten people off feeding tubes by adjusting them. And then for weight, I'd recommend avocados and nuts. And if you can't chew the nuts, nut butters work real well, but not peanut butter. Almond butter, cashew butter, those are really good too. That'll help put on the weight for you as well. So cashews especially. But come see us so we can fix the problem, not treat the symptoms.
I love this. Everybody in Facebook's chat trying to figure out how to make apple cider vinegar taste good.
Good. Hey, I'm okay with that. I love help. Like Olita said, I don't care how you get here. You're too young for that song. Yeah. Cool song. I was about 28 when that song came out, I remember.
I'm not even 28.
The United States of Health. Now on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.
Hey, folks, Dr. Joe. If you're just tuning in, man, you missed an amazing show. But the good news is Garrett promised me it's going to be on the website by tomorrow. So we talked a lot of chemistry, a lot of technical things about how the body works and hormone signaling. So go to my website, drjoe.com. You can listen to this and over 1,000 hours of other shows. And if you have neck pain and back pain and shoulder pain, if you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged. I don't care what the insurance company says. Oh, it was only $500 worth of damage. You weren't hurt. Yes, you were. Because nothing is as strong. You're not stronger than your car, and your neck just bounces around. So stop suffering. If you're in pain, come see us. If you have health issues, come see us, and let's see if we can get you well. Because the biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? I get it every single day. So go to my website, drjoe.com, right now to make an appointment, because we book up quickly. Or you can call the number 844-44-DR-JOE when we're not on the air, and you can get to make an appointment then. Jim, how can we make your day better?
Yes, sir. A little while ago, you said something about a supplement, I think it was, that helped to lower your blood sugar called berberine or something like that.
Berberine, yes.
How are we spelling that, sir?
B-E-R-B-E-R-I-N-E, I think it is. Yeah, berberine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a supplement or what is that?
That's a supplement, yes, and that's one of the things you can do. We're going to talk about cinnamon next. So cinnamon works real well. Gymnema works real well. Vitamin D, probiotics. But again, you got to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. But berberine is one of the things, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the call. Yeah, folks, again, if you missed it, it's all going to be on the website. So let's talk about a few more things. I only have a few more minutes here. Cinnamon. You really want to add cinnamon to your diet. It's loaded with antioxidants, and the cinnamon is wonderful for help stabilizing the blood sugar. And the journal Diabetes Care found that as little as a half a teaspoon of powdered cinnamon a day drop blood sugar levels and other risk factors in people with diabetes. So make that part of your diet. Try to do organic if you can, of course, because organic is always going to be better. Alpha-lipoic acid, okay, ALA, not ALA that becomes DHA and EPA. This is a different ALA. Okay, spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peas, potatoes, and nutritional yeast contain this antioxidant, and it helps convert food into energy. So this is why eating a good plant-based diet is going to help convert the food into energy, and you're not going to have that buildup of sugar. 600 to 1,200 milligrams a day in tablet form is a great supplement, but always check with your doctor if you're taking other medications, of course. People with thyroid problems or taking insulin could have a possible interaction with the alpha-lipoic acid supplements, but there doesn't seem to be a reaction if they're eating things like spinach, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, peas, and potatoes. And that's another reason you should be taking Dr. Joe's Essential Source, because a lot of those foods are in there in powder form. We take the fruits and vegetables and juice them, take the water and the sugar out. This way diabetics can take it. It's ketogenic. Super Green's an essential source. And it's a great source of those micronutrients that your body needs to make things work better. Fiber, we talked about that early on in the show, but I got to cover this before we run out of time. Study found that people ate moderate carb, high fiber diets lowered their post-meal blood sugar by 21%. So what's fiber? Fiber can only come from plants. Animal products have zero fiber. So if you're going to eat a high animal-based diet, you need the fiber because the fiber gets in your colon and it stretches out your colon. Your colon is like an elastic tube. And when the colon stretches out, it fires off what's called stretch receptors. And stretch receptors, when they're stretched out to a certain point, then cause the muscle to contract. And that's what moves things along your colon and gets things to come out of your body. And so if you're not eating enough fiber, you don't activate these stretch receptors and the food just sits there and it rots. And so the fiber is really important because what the fiber does is it slowly pushes the sugar through your colon and you get a slow release of sugar. And a lot of it is bound up in the fiber too. So you get the slow release of sugar and then the body releases just a little bit of insulin. So if you eat an apple, pretty high in sugar, but it's going to have the fiber with it. If you do apple juice, it's like drinking pure sugar. And you're going to spike that blood sugar. The insulin's going to go crazy. And then the insulin's going to start going into the cells. The cells become insulin resistant. And now we're finding that Alzheimer's is now called type 3 diabetes because we're finding that the cells in the brain become insulin resistant. And that's a big problem. In fact, I went to a big fundraiser the other day for Alzheimer's research. And nowhere did anyone mention fiber and insulin resistance in the brain, and they should have. But I kept my mouth shut. It wasn't my show. Great target fiber for type 2 diabetes is about 40 grams a day. You could do a little more than that. Most people get, 10 or 15 a day. So you really got to up that. And how do you do that? Eat more plants. And the plants, like we talked about broccoli, Brussels sprouts, peas, and potatoes, although potatoes are high in sugar, are high in the alpha-lipoic acid, which then can help convert the energy from the fats and the sugars. And so you're getting like a triple whammy. You're getting the micronutrients, you're getting the fiber, you're getting all these other nutrients. It's better for you to help you lose weight. You'll feel better. You'll probably live longer. No downside to this, folks. And from a chiropractic standpoint, I want to touch on this too. Gestational diabetes. When women are pregnant, sometimes they'll become diabetic. And I've done this test with patients. I'll have them take their blood sugar before we adjust them. And then we'll adjust their mid-back. That's the nerve supply to the pancreas. And then we'll take the blood sugar again. And within minutes, the blood sugar starts to stabilize. So chiropractic care is really wonderful as part of the treatment plan for diabetics. Because when you open up the nerve supply to the organs, no matter what the organ comes alive again. We talked earlier off the air about the first chiropractic adjustment ever, September 18th, 1895, by Dr. D.D. Palmer on his janitor, Harvey Lillard, who was deaf. And the story goes, Harvey heard his neck pop, and he went deaf, and Dr. Palmer thought, well, if I unpop his neck, will he get his hearing back? And he did. And Dr. Palmer thought he had discovered a cure for deafness, when in reality, it was the first chiropractic adjustment. It evolved into chiropractic what we know today. And my father was deaf. My father had a horrible accident before I was born and broke his skull and went deaf. I was never able to bring his hearing back, but 2 patients in my career were able to get their hearing back through chiropractic care, and that's just me personally, not counting my other doctors. So it's certainly worth a shot because the nerves control everything. And so neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, of course you want to unpinch the nerves, just makes sense, but it also affects the organs. So a couple other things, back to insulin. I don't want to drift too far away. Chromium. Good scientific evidence that this mineral can improve long-term blood sugar control. Some studies show no improvement, but it's certainly worth a shot. Good sources are things like blackstrap molasses, grapes, plant sources such as red zinger tea, dandelion, oats, stevia. How about that? Lemongrass, garlic, peaches, broccoli, juniper. All these are good sources of chromium. Chromium can interact with other medications, so always talk to your doctor. And then we did talk about gymnema earlier. I want to touch on that right before we wrap it up. And by the way, folks, if you have any questions, you can always go to my website, drjoe.com, send us questions, make an appointment at drjoe.com, listen to thousands of hours of podcasts. Hey, do me a favor, send me your email address. Because Garrett sends out a newsletter, not very often, but many times we have specials we'll have on supplements, we'll have special breakout lectures. I am doing a live lecture coming up, folks. You don't want to miss this. If you remember a newsletter or follow us on Facebook or Instagram, I'm going to announce it. It's going to be on the food romance connection. It's an adult-only lecture. Okay, so don't bring kids to this one. We're going to talk about how food affects your love life and certain foods that help and certain foods that don't. And Gymnema, by the way, great supplement. It's on the website, drjoe.com. Folks, I am Dr. Joe Esposito. I cannot thank you enough for being here. And I do appreciate all the people that are following us on Instagram. We're almost to being a point of an influencer. We're getting close there. I'm not sure what that means, but the young kids do. But if you like what you heard, go to the website, drjoe.com. Audios, videos are there. You can download them. We have a SoundCloud. You can download the audios, too. And we'd love to be your doctors. So stop suffering needlessly. Make the appointment right now, drjoe.com. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
The Great American Motorcycle.
Oh, that was loud. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to know before I say goodbye to everyone?
Last question. This woman's son has a swollen lymph node. It came up suddenly yesterday below the chin, about a thumb's width behind the chin. Sorry.
Right there.
Yep.
Yes.
Your thoughts? Is it time for a doctor visit?
It's an infection. The lymph nodes are filters. They filter out junk. They filter out viruses, germs, and bacteria that are dead. So he's got an infection. So I would suggest Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster, Dr. Joe's Seasonal Tonic, vitamin D, absolutely positively, and probiotics, and of course Super Green's an essential source everybody should be taking, and monitor it. If you go to the doctor, they might just throw him on antibiotics, which short-term could work well, but long-term can cause some damage, and that's why a lot of professional groups are saying don't use antibiotics if we can avoid them. So I would try the natural approach first. If it gets worse, if he gets a fever and it lasts for more than 2 or 3 days, you might want to then bring him into a doctor, but that's what I would do if he was my son. All right, guys, got to go. Thanks so much. Share this with everybody, and we'll catch you next time.